Hi everyone, my name is Britain Cline, and welcome to this week's edition of Marketing Minutes by Scuba Diving Industry Magazine.
Hi everybody, I'm William Cline. I'm the publisher, and welcome to this new series that we've really been enjoying for the last couple of months. We've had a ton of people on. If you're a dive company out there and you'd like to talk about some marketing aspect of your business or your products or services, reach out to Britain or I. We'd love to have you on the show. So who do we have today?
Yes, so this week our special guest is Patrick Danko, Dive Marketing Product Manager for Garmin. Patrick, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be on the show. Excited to interact with you guys and share a little bit about what we've got going on.
Well, thanks for joining us today, Patrick. You know, Britain, I can't wait to hear about this, but I was doing a little research before this podcast, and Garmin is a $6.3 billion company.
Yes, sir.
I think that makes them the largest company in the dive industry.
I think so.
Pretty much.
It's pretty incredible. But Patrick, just to kind of jump into things, could you tell us a little bit about maybe one of your recent launches of the Descent X50i at the DIMMA show last year? I think it was in November, and then the Descent G2 earlier this year.
Yeah, love to. Yeah, we came to DIMMA last year. Always love to introduce new product at DIMMA.
For sure.
We have a growing product family in our Descent product line, which is our dedicated dive computer line. And the X50 was our big show product launch in November. So we launched the Descent X50i. This is our first large form factor dive computer. Wow. So big display, so fitting all the data that a both recreational and a really demanding technical diver would want on their wrist. Wow. It's got a big sapphire lens, scratch resistant. We put all of our goodies in there. So GPS for surface marking of your entry and exit points, but we also have full set of maps on there that you can take underwater with you as cool. Well.
Yeah. Biometrics, right?
SubWave, which is our air integration technology, which allows, of course, transmission of tank pressure, but also we send and receive between your dive team, your depth and your distance. And we also have messaging, so you can send and receive messages
that'd be cool.
At depth between divers. We have a flashlight, a little utility flashlight on there, which is proven to be really popular on our MK3 series. And then some other software features. We added in a bunch of technical diving features. We added a dynamic depth chart, so you can see, especially if you're doing deco dives, here's what your ascent looks like in a graphical form. So it's really aimed at the most demanding divers out there, giving them a big product to wear that gives them all the data that they need.
Wow,
and then we also and then earlier this year, just a few months later, we launched our Descent G2. So the Descent G1 has been out on the market for a long time. It's been a kind of like our entry level into the Descent product family. It's rugged. It's kind of a high value dive computer that we upgraded this earlier this year with a bright AMOLED display. So you get an upgrade from a black and white transflected display to a really nice, beautiful AMOLED display. It's made from ocean-bound plastic, so we
cool.
have sourced some really cool some materials that are coming from ocean-bound plastic fishnets that we're recycling and to make the housing, the body of the watch, and it provides everything from recreational to technical diving features, plus all of your smartwatch features, your bike, hike, run, swim, your caller ID, your calendar reminders, pulse oximeter, heart rate. Gives you all of that in a nice, easy kind of everyday wear package. So those have been the two really exciting product launches for our Descent this year.
Wow, it sounds so far ahead of the curve compared to most of the computers out there. That's truly amazing. I can
certainly understand the excitement.
So I saw your Dan interview you did on their program, which is really, really well done. And I know she spoke quite a bit about the fact that not only that you're a diver, but your wife's a diver, which is kind of cool, but that Garmin is really into innovation and dive safety. And can you tell the dive industry a little about your innovative programs, such as your dive readiness, your SubWave messaging you've already mentioned, and InReach satellite communication programs?
Nice, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, diver safety, the reason we got into this is really how do we provide innovation into the dive market, things that we can take advantage of that sort of spirit of innovation, technology, to bring new solutions to divers that certainly help them have more fun, help them with their mission, but also help keep them safe. Sure. We recently launched what we call Dive Readiness, which is a a use of the biometrics. We're collecting a lot of data about our divers on the watch. So how are you sleeping? Maybe you have some jet lag. What's your stress look like? Your body battery. We know your HR and your pulse ox, and we can take that and start to formulate messages to the divers around how to interpret those markers when it comes to being ready for their dive. As they're getting geared up, we give them a little bit of info to remind them about, hey, maybe you're a little bit tired from jet lag, maybe you stayed out, maybe you didn't sleep really well. So take that into account, when you're prepping for your dive. So that's been a really cool way of incorporating our biometrics strengths into serving the dive market. We also have our InReach Mini. So our InReach service is a set of satellite communicators that you can pick up that talk through the Iridium satellite network, work anywhere in the world to allow you both emergency and non-emergency communication tool. So it feels like you can't open up the news these days without hearing about divers left at sea or an incident on a dive boat. It's something that I think many divers spend so much of our time preparing for. How do we take care of ourselves and others? But then there's those things that are outside of your control that are always creeping around in the back of our mind.
Like getting left out in the middle of the ocean.
Product,
yeah. Right.
Totally. So the InReach products are really cool. Literally I'll take an InReach Mini 2. It's a little tiny, it's about that big product. You put it in a dive housing and you can put it in your thigh pocket or clip it to your VC, and you have a two-way satellite communication and emergency tool with you at all times in your dive. So you pop up, whether it's you got left by the boat and you're drifting, or you're on the boat and you just have a mechanical issue or a medical emergency, or I use it when I'm offshore just to message my wife, like, hey, done with diving, everything's great, on my way home, what's for dinner, right? So it's a really cool tool to enable communication when you're outside of cell phone range, and it also connects you with a team of people here at Garmin who will follow you end to end through an incident to make sure that you get taken care of. It's not just push a button and hope someone shows up.
Oh, that's interesting.
That sounds like a really critical piece of equipment, especially nowadays.
It's kind of like my DSMB. I don't go ocean diving without it anymore. It goes along with me.
No doubt.
And then the other one I might talk about is our SubWave. So this is our kind of underwater data communication protocol using sonar that we came out with our MK2i and our T1 transmitter. Now that's evolved with MK3i, with X50i, and with our T2 transceiver. So this allows a lot of that functionality I talked about earlier, where you can not only get your tank pressure, but also see your buddy's tank pressure. You can do those at real diving distances. When I'm going diving with my dive buddies, I never have to use the hand signals and ask them, how you doing on air.
Just look at your watch. That's cool.
Yeah, you just got to check it, man. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then the messaging features, the distance, you get lost, it's a little murky. Okay, I know my buddy's probably about 20 feet away. He's probably about 5 feet above me. That gives me a lot of information to figure out how to maybe go solve a problem without that. It becomes a little bit of a guessing game, right?
So it tells you where
trying to bring some of that technology to the divers.
So it tells you where your buddy is geographically in a 3-dimensional like space. So it says it's 5 feet up and 20 feet behind or whatever.
It will tell you distance and depth. It does not tell you direction.
Okay.
So you still have to figure that out. But you have some extra variables, and you can message them. You're like, hey, where are you? I'm at the anchor line. Okay, cool. You can solve some of those problems that previously get a little bit complicated without a visual connection with your team.
No doubt. Well, that's all incredible information. Just to kind of could you tell us a little bit about the ways that Garmin works to support your dealers, including your dealer training channel on YouTube, which I've noticed recently?
No, the dive business is amazing, I think, because it's this big network of passionate, largely small businesses, some medium and some large, but how do you reach a very diverse group of independent dealers all trying to both build passion in divers, teach diving, sell diving equipment, sell experiences with travel service. So it's a complicated thing to figure out. How do we take what can be perceived as a really complicated piece of technology help get our dealers educated, informed, and hopefully passionate about Garmin and how to help communicate the product to their customers. So we've decided to address that in a couple of ways. We have a dealer resource center. It's our online portal for our dealers to come and learn about and buy and get support for our products. And we continue to really leverage that to put as much self-service capability into our dealers' hands as possible. But our YouTube channel, we decided a while back to put out a dealer training or retail training channel where we have a dedicated team, actually part of our sales team. So this is a dedicated team who is focused on providing content, creating content for our retailers, for our dealers.
That's awesome.
So
That's
we meet
great.
regularly to talk about, hey, what's going on in the dive world? What are we hearing from our retailers? What questions or concerns or points of confusion? And then we'll literally can pivot that around into getting content out onto our YouTube channel, specifically targeted that, sometimes in a matter of hours and days. So it makes for a real quick turnaround. And the team has gotten really good. The production value is great. They're able to take a lot of the tools that really get hands-on and provide screenshots or scenarios and some of the tech specs and how-tos that our dealers, I think, have really appreciated, especially when they're trying to learn what can be a somewhat intimidating set of features that we pack into a lot of our products.
So I assume you have some rental programs for like resorts or liveaboards that want to put Garmin products on their boats or in their resorts. And obviously we have a fairly large audience of dive retailers listening to this all around the world. So how does one go about to either get part of your key man program or your rental program or become a dealer? Where do they start?
Yeah. So the easiest place to go is to go to our dealer resource center. So dealers.garmin.com. Go there, and that has a link to become a dealer. And if you are already a dealer, you can go there and reach out to your sales team member. We have both our inside and our RSMs who you're probably interacting with already, and they can absolutely help you get you set up for any of those programs. We love having our products on the wrists of dive pros out there. So Keyman program's awesome. And then, if you want to get set up as a new dealer, go to dealers.garmin.com. There'll be a link there to apply, and that's a really quick process, get you onboarded.
That's very cool. Very cool. Well, thanks for being on our show, Patrick. It's hard to believe, but we are only 168 days, I think, to the DIMMA show. It's like 5 issues to go. Yeah. So what does DIMMA have does Garmin have any sneak preview plans for the show that you can kind of tease us with?
Well, we're always working on new stuff. That's about as much teasing as I can do. We will be there. Absolutely. Looking forward. So one of the advantages to Garmin, we have a really strong kind of machine that helps, kind of ideate, innovate, build new products. So I won't spill the beans on anything that we're coming to DIMMA with, but it should be an awesome show. We'll put it that way.
I'm sure we'll
be there.
Hear more.
So if anybody, any of your listeners are going to be there, I'd love to stop by and hear from you.
Well, that's fantastic. So we're going to be at the Long Beach show this weekend. We're booth 155. We're all the way in the back of the hall, but guess what, Britton? We're right next to the bar.
That's right.
That's a good spot to be. And we're going to have our portable studio set up there at the show. Mm-hmm. So I think you said Ben Collins is coming from Garmin this weekend. So Ben, if you watch this, come by and see us. We'd love to get you on a little brief interview at the booth.
Hand camera right in front of you.
Exactly. Yeah. Nothing's better than a bar and live TV, right?
That's right. That's right.
Perfect.
So thanks again for having us for being on our show. So who do we got next week, Britton?
Yes, next week our special guest is going to be Bill Cole, owner of Sea Experience and former colleague of yours, if I can remember correctly. I think you did used to work at Pro Dive.
I did a long time ago. Bill was the boat captain, and I was the only instructor when I was hired there. They only had a very small staff, and there's even a dive site named after me in Fort Lauderdale called Willie's Way.
Get out of here.
That Bill and I found. Yeah, we haven't dove together there yet. So anyhow, it's going to be a fun chat next week with Bill Cole.
Definitely
so
will.
This is it for us for this week. Tune in next week to our next edition of Marketing Minutes. And again, come by and see us out at Long Beach. If you're a dive instructor or a retailer, go to the show.
And Patrick, thank you again so much for your time. It was a pleasure.
Thanks so much for having me. It's been awesome.